I never want these decorations to come down, Asha.
Me neither.
They're so adorable. Now? Jai. Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Paribhajaka Charcha Astatara Siddha Shri Shiman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Paribhajaka Charcha Astatara Siddha Shri Shiman Srila Bhakti Rakak Shri Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Swapadika Shri Shri Guru Gaur Chandraju Ki Jai. Shri Giraj Govardhanju Ki Jai. Welcome to Shri Caitanya Charitamrta Mission Morning Class. Dandavad. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitangscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gaur Chandraju Ki Jai. Haribol. All right. Jai Giraj Govardhanju Ki Jai. Continuing to read Sri Caitanya Charitamrta. We are continuing to read the 24th chapter of the Madhya Lila. This is, of course, the explanations of the Atma Rama verse. And this is not so easy, but many beautiful points are here. So we continue with this. We're in text 183. This is the 5th volume of the Madhya Lila. Chapter 24 again. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Matsevaya Patitam Te Salokyadi Chatushtayam Nechante Sevaya Purna Kutonyat Kala Viplutam. Excuse me. My devotees, sorry. My devotees, having fulfilled their desires by serving me, do not accept the 4 kinds of salvation that are easily earned by such service. Why should they accept any pleasures that are lost in the course of time? If they do not even want the 4 positive kinds of liberation in Vaikuntha, then why would they ever hanker for anything in this world? Everything passing away in the course of time. And this is a quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm going to go back 1 verse. This is driti. The word driti is the fullness felt due to the absence of misery. And the absence of misery is never going to happen as long as we're attached to anything in this world, right? This could never happen. And the attainment of knowledge of the Supreme Lord and pure love for Him. The lamentation that accrues from not obtaining a goal or from losing something already attained does not affect this completeness. So that is the nature of misery is we don't get what we want or we lose what we have. And that's inevitable in this world, right? So he's saying, if someone is on that plane of driti, then he is never affected by that type of lamentation because he has no attachments to temporary material happiness. And then we just read that verse from the Bhagavatam. They're not even attached to the 4 kinds of positive liberation in Vaikuntha. So what to speak of anything in this world? Rishikeshe Rishikani Yasyastarya Gatani Sa eve daryam apnoti sangsare jiva chanchale. In this material world, all living entities are disturbed. All living entities are disturbed due to their flickering position. So even in heaven, even in the heavenly planets, where everything is quite stable, finally no one gets to stay there. A devotee, however, is fixed in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, the master of the senses. He's not, so this, it's significant that the word Rishikesh is being used in this verse, because it is through, what we want to enjoy is through the senses, and nothing of that is stable. So he's worshiping the Lord of the senses. He's not worshiping the objects of the senses. Such a person is to be considered situated in endurance and patience. Endurance, that's another word that we were learning. Endurance and patience. He can endure many things. It doesn't matter. He's patient and he can go through whatever is needed for his service. There's no problem for that. Cha avadarane iha api samuchaye duti mantahanya bhaje pakshimurka chaye. The word cha is for emphasis, and the word api is used to indicate an aggregate, the whole thing. Thus it is to be understood that even dull creatures, birds and illiterates, can also be situated in endurance and engaged in Krishna's devotional service. So certainly, and it applies to everyone. So the word cha means certainly, don't have any doubt about this, and api means this is true for everybody. This is true for everyone. That this person who is in the position of driti, he is not disturbed by anything. Atma shabde buddhi kahe buddhi vishesha samaya buddhi yukta yata jiva avesha. The word atma is also used for a particular type of intelligence. Since all living entities generally have some intelligence, nonetheless, they are more or less, they are all included. So Atma is also now referring to a particular type of intelligence, and everyone is included in that because everyone has some kind of intelligence, even mushrooms.
Excuse me, Devi.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sorry for interrupting. They're not hearing from the kitchen.
Oh.
I wonder if it's because we need to get the microphone closer.
Oh, not generally.
No? Oh, sorry.
Maybe it's unplugged. Is that it? Yes. Bujje Rame Atma Rama Duita Prakara Pandita Munigana Nirgranta Murkaara. Everyone has some kind of intelligence. And when he utilizes his intelligence, is called Atma Rama. Somebody who is using that. And there are 2 kinds of Atma Ramas. One is a learned scholar, using his intelligence in that way for scholarship. and philosopher, and the other is an uneducated, illiterate, foolish person. Those who they're not really using their intelligence much. Krishna kripaya saru sange rati buddhipaya shabachade shuddha bhakti kare Krishna paya. By the mercy of Krishna and by the association of devotees, one increases his attraction to and intelligence for pure devotional service. Therefore, one gives up everything and engages himself at the lotus feet of Krishna and his pure devotees. So that doesn't matter if one is very intelligent and a philosopher, or one is foolish. If he gradually hears about Krishna and association of devotees, his intelligence will blossom, and he will give up everything and engage in the lotus feet, the service of the lotus feet of Krishna and the devotees. Is this clear? Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mang buddha bhava samanvita. I, Krishna, am the original source of everything. Everything. I think let's just not keep doing this, maybe. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my service with love and devotion. This is a quotation from the Bhagavad Gita. I am the original source of everything. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my service with love and devotion. So it doesn't matter if one is educated, uneducated, naturally foolish, or anything. If he comes to understand that Krishna is the original source of everything, he engages in his service and he becomes wise. This is a quotation from
Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, sir. Te vai vidantyati taranti chadeva mayam Shri Shudra Hunya Shabara Api Papa Jiva Yad Yad Bhuta Krama Prayana Shila Shikshas Tir Yagjana Api Kim Ushutta Dharanaje. Sorry to interfere with your seva.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
It made me feel like in a hurry because Shapurna and Namudaki, they cannot hear.
I can hear through the kitchen, I just have to listen harder.
Oh.
So the kitchen's working, but the prasadam room's... Oh, the kitchen's working and the prasadam room is not working.
And this is strange because this morning we tested and it was working.
Oh.
But right now it's not. So I was like, what is it?
Oh, okay. We can work on that afternoon. Women, fourth class men, uncivilized hill tribes, hunters, and many other born of low families, as well as birds and beasts, can engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who acts very wonderfully, and follow the path of the devotees and take lessons from them. Although the ocean of nescience is vast, they still can cross over it. What then is the difficulty for those who are advanced in Vedic knowledge? So he's saying all of the, well, basically, we can understand that in the Kali Yuga, we are all like very low born. But still, that's no problem. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West, and he was, coming to preach Krishna consciousness, well, he got some criticism. Why, those people, they're not qualified to practice devotional service. But Srila Prabhupada knows perfectly well the scriptures. And even the low persons of the West, they're not disqualified. As we hear right here. This is a quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma said this when speaking to his disciple Narada about the wonderful characteristics of Lord Vishnu. Simply by chanting the glories of Lord Vishnu, one can cross the ocean of nescience, even though one may be low-born. Vichara kariya jabe bhajya Krishna paya, se buddhi dena tare jate Krishna paya. Considering all these points, when one engages in the service of Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna gives one the intelligence by which one can gradually progress toward perfection in the service of the Lord. So this shows the superiority of the Vaishnava under all conditions. He is superior. Why? Because he's trying to serve the Lord. The Lord is reciprocating personally and giving him the intelligence by which he can progress in his service. So there's nothing comparable to that. There's nothing comparable to serving the Lord, to trying to really practice pure devotional service in the association of the great souls, the great Vaishnava acharyas, and their other disciples. There's nothing compares with that, because the Lord swiftly comes to help that devotee. So what higher position can one find than that? Through all these other practices, but they're tinged with ego. Devotional service, we may be tinged with ego, but the practice, the pure practice of devotional service does not accommodate ego at all. Tesham shatata yuktanam vachatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tang jainamam upayanti te. From the that is Bhagavad Gita also. You know this actually. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So that is very great reassurance for those who wish to practice devotional service. At first we feel like we're coming toward a tidal wave of opposition within ourselves. But there is no tidal wave which is any problem for Krishna. So we're taking shelter of Krishna, Sharanagati. And he will give the understanding, more and more, gradually more and more clear understanding about what devotion is, and what devotional service is, and what it isn't. Satsanga Krishna Seva Bhagavata Nama Prajevasa E Pancha Sadhana Pradana. To be elevated to the platform of pure devotional service, the following 5 items should be observed. Ready?
Yeah, 5 items.
Okay, here they are.
Give 'em up.
Satsanga, association with the devotees. The second one is Krishna Seva. What is that? Krishna Seva.
Krishna Seva.
Yeah, the devotional service of Krishna, right? Bhagavat, meaning the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, the chanting of the holy names, Nama, and residence in Vrindavan or Mathura, which is in the verse Brajebas.
That's something Rupa Goswami mentions in the Upadeshamritam, right?
Upadeshamritam, yes. E panchamaje eka swalpajari hai, subuddhi janera hai, Krishna premodai. One's dormant love for Krishna gradually awakens if one is a little advanced in one of these 5 items and is intelligent. He's discerning, and his intelligence will become more and more. But he's discerning how I should live my life. Duru hadbhuta viryesmin shraddha dures tu panchake Yatra svalpopi sambandha saddhyam bhava janmane. The power of these 5 principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. How they are working is very difficult to understand. The progress one makes through these, we cannot understand that progress until it comes to us. Even without faith in them, a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love of Krishna simply by being a little connected with them. Then his faith will develop through experience. This verse is found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So what are those 5? Association with devotion, with devotees, devotional service to Krishna, studying the Bhagavat means studying the divine scriptures, the Nam, the holy name of Krishna, and Brajavas, living in a place like Braja or Mathura. So that means places where devotion to Krishna is there. And ultimately, Braja or Mathura, but that doesn't mean just physically being there. Udara mahati jana sarvotama buddhi nanakame bhaje tabupaya bhakti siddhi. So Mahaprabhu is making a point from these words, what they mean, and then he's giving many, many verses that enlighten the meaning that he has just given to show us that what he is saying is so substantial. When he's giving these interpretations of all these different words in the Atmarama verse, then many, many, many supporting Shastra references are there. Udara ma. Are there any questions from anyone? Udara mahati yara sarvotama buddhi nanakame bhaje tabupaya bhakti siddhi. If a person is actually liberated and intelligent, he can advance and become perfect in devotional service, even if he has material desires and serves the Lord with some motive. If a person is actually liberal and intelligent, he can advance and become perfect in devotional service, even if he has material desires and serves the Lord with some motive. That will all be cleared away. So we don't have to think, oh, this is my one chance. If I'm not perfect right now, there is no hope for me. We are noticing, and by the grace of the Lord through the environment,